Hi, friends. This is AJ, she, her, the Joy Weaver, and this is the Oh My Goodness podcast. Today, I wanted to record an episode about the extreme spectrum that is the both and in this season. And not just with me, although that's an episode I want to record about what it feels like right now to be hitting a lot of dreams and a lot of cool things, and also having some really big golden headaches that I'm navigating. But I just got off of mastermind call where if you're on the YouTube, you might see my eyes are a little red. And I ended up crying about just the world and everything going on right now. If you don't know, I am a US military spouse. We're currently in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is the South. I am in a straight passing marriage and I am white. So I am quote unquote safe. I also fall under the pagan umbrella. So I'm a little less safe there. But I grew up evangelical. I speak the language, right? Um, so for all intents and purposes, I am okay. And a lot of my military friends and their spouses, their families just got orders, orders to deploy in a war that is unnecessary on so many fronts. And this is not necessarily a political podcast, but it is a human podcast. And when we talk about joy and when we talk about showing up in our lives with intention and integrity, it is because the world is real. It's not because I exist in a world where everything is great and good. It's because I see the bad and I choose to focus on the good so that it nourishes me to move through and with the hard and the bad. Does that make sense? Um, I've gotten some feedback about that sometimes I should amplify the bad more and talk about it more. And on my personal page, I do sometimes about like, hey, call your senators, call your congresspeople, XYZ is happening. And also, this is not me bypassing. This is just, I think it just is helpful to hear this out loud, maybe sometimes, that we also need tools to stay in our bodies. And that is what I feel in my bones that I'm here to do, is to remind you that to fight for what is good and true, equal rights for all, common humanity, food, healthcare, housing. Like, to do this, you have to be here. To be here, you have to be willing to stay. To be willing to stay, you have to have some sort of sense of capacity and ability to stay. To do that, you need tools. These are the tools I teach. I think I teach them in a way that helps you stay more rooted, more grounded, and not just functional, but ability to breathe, right? You can hold your breath through your whole day, or you can breathe through it. Kind of like a hard workout pushes you. My hope is that the tools I give you feel like a good workout so that when life gets hard, you know how to sprint, you know how to run, you know how to get through it without it pulling you out, right? It's like you train for the day that the lights go out. You train like the zombie apocalypse, not really, but like essentially. We use these tools so that you can process. And when the hard things hit, they don't blow you out as much or as long, or they don't blow you out, period. And you can be like, okay, what is the next right thing? If you can practice it with the small things, you can do it for the big things, right? And it's hard. It's just hard. And I had somebody the other day and they're like, it's just a lot. And I was like, yeah, yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. It is hard. This is the hard work. Like, it's easy, I think, to, I don't want to say that. I think it can be easy to diminish the work that is nourishing yourself and your community because it feels small in the expanse of it all. And as I sit here and look at everything, and there's a song my friend played the other day, and it's I'm in the middle of a hostile government takeover, but dun dun dun, late for work. And it's like, you didn't want this, you you didn't want a lady in office. And it's this like song that's actually really catchy because this guy put a backtrack on it. But it's just basically like we could have had nice things, but here we are. Um, because Trump is part two term, and also he's a symptom of a bigger issue, right? Like we're same paging about this. And this is just not open. If you disagree, this is just not the podcast for you. This is just not open. I'm not open to conversation about the impact Trump has had or Christian nationalism. These are the terrors that are against our land and our world right now, which is my filter, but also, yeah. So if you want to keep listening, great. And if you're like, nope, I'm out, peace be with you. And may you see that everyone's humanity is worthy of being recognized because they don't see that. Okay, moving on. Here's how I'm moving through things in real time. I am doing my work to the best of my ability, and I'm showing up full force. And your work might look differently than my work, right? Sometimes people are like, oh, but my work doesn't count for a lot. Do you know who is saving me lately? It is spicy book writers. It is the people at the gate who check my ID when I come on onto the military base and they're like, I hope you have a great day. I'm like, God, I love this energy. Like, thank you so much. So often I am supplying energy or helping people get energy. Um, and I get energy from a lot of different ways, but when people give me their overflow, it's honestly not as often. And I love it. I love it. I will bask in overflow all day, every day. And I just went to Gulf Wars, which is an SEA event, where anywhere from 6th century Greco-Roman times to 16th century people dress up, and they're all over the world. I currently live in Glenavon. I used to be in Anciora, which is like the Texas kingdom, and now I'm in like the Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama kingdom. And there's other places, but basically 3,000 people came to an encampment and camped out and had just a great week. And we got to dress up, and I got to dress as my fullest self. My SEA name is Dancing Lady Runa Deer. And Runa is both my fairy name, my magic name, my SEA, my Ren Fair name. It's been a LARP name, a LARP character that actually really meant a lot and changed me in a lot of ways. But I was just surrounded by people living into the dream of what's possible and storytelling and bardic, and it was just really delightful and nourishing and recharging. And then to come back to regular life and just kind of feel like I got punched in the face a little bit by some reality when we got back into main Wi-Fi, right? I had like enough Wi-Fi to post like my fit checks of the day, but not enough to like check everything. And it's just like, oh my God, come on, get it together. Like, I don't want to be president or queen of the world, but honestly, come on. Okay, here's my thought. I'm just going to be honest. Welcome to my podcast. If I was a billionaire, do you know all the cool shit you could do? Like you could like fund healthcare for so many, like nobody would have to go without like clean water. All like think about the schools you could fund, the things you could make. You could go like full art, like medieval times, like people would have like dick measuring contests with art. They would be like, well, my play is longer than yours. Well, this tapestry took 5 years to build, and I house my artisans here. Do they have their own concubines? I don't know. I'm just making stuff up. But like essentially, it was like you had money, and like the way you showed it off was like you infused your community with goodness. Like, can you imagine if like the billionaires did that? If like the millionaires did that? Like, it doesn't have to be about greed, and it just is, and it just disgusts me. And there's people with money doing really cool stuff, right? Like I want to acknowledge the both end that not all rich people are bad. There are rich people doing really good things with their money. And also, there are a few people with a lot of money doing a lot of harm and causing legislation that honestly is leading and has led to deaths. And it just doesn't have to be this way. So if you're like, am I crazy? Because this is just a lot. You're not. This is a lot. And I was on my call today because I have like 10-minute, I have a 10-minute hot seat in this mastermind I'm in, right? And I was like thinking about what I want to bring up, and there's just odds and ends. But I just kind of felt scattered. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to raise my hand and be like, I don't know. I'm here. I'm just going to ask questions. And I ended up just crying with just everything on my brain because holding it all is a lot. Because here's the other part of this is that it hurts. It hurts to feel it all. And also, when you are aware to it all, there's no bypassing that. And that's why the spectrum of both and is important. Because if you are caring about this, you are carrying a piece of it with you. And if you're only focused on the bad, it is just going to drain you until there's nothing left, right? That is why when we take action, when we call our Congress people, when we do things in our community, when we show up for our friends. I just had a cooking morning with two of my friends here. And if they're listening to this, I love you so much. And we made meals together, freezer meals, so that we can put them in the crock pot and cook food for our families. And it was such a nice morning. And we all have different things going on in our lives. And so at one point, one of them apologized for something. And I was like, guys, between you having this going on, you having this going on, and me with the schedule I have, all together we make one whole human. We can do this. It's okay. But it was this community taking care of each other that was just really beautiful and nourishing. This weekend, I have a magical evening for no other purpose than just to get together and be nourished with community. And I'm really excited. And that counts. There is terrible war and also goodness. There is legislation coming down the pipeline that is straight out of The Handmaid's Tale, but actually truly out of Project 2025 that warned people about. Sorry. I'm just, I feel frustrated because it's like we knew this was coming. We tried to stop it and we couldn't. And I don't know if you ever feel this way. Did you ever read any of this dystopian teenage novels? And it's like three, girl named Sunflower falls in love with two guys. She saves the day. She has the key. She didn't think she was anything. And then she had the key. She could solve it all. There's no like three teenagers coming to save. There's no one key. It's a mix of things. It's a systemic issue. And that makes it harder and bigger because it takes all of us pulling our part, doing our part, holding the both and. This is why I go so hard on what is bringing us to life, because this is death. If we just think it's us versus them, and if it's just this and it's just terrible and everybody sucks and everything is bad and everything, there's no life worth living, of like moving towards, of nourishing us, of fueling us, of abundance. And I think when we can be honest about that, then you see that actually you need to balance out the scales so you can move through your life in a way that feels good or is doable. Does that make sense? And I know today's podcast isn't like fully fleshed out, but I just felt the nudge to come on here and record. And as much as I almost want to delete this and not post, I think I am. I think I'm going to record this. So if you're listening to this, this is for you. This is a reminder that It is a lot. And that's also why it's more important than ever than we take care of ourselves, each other, the world in the ways that we can. We can't fix it all, but we can help move the needle a little bit more with the words we say, with the calls we make, with the letters we write to our friends, to those representing us, quote unquote, with the way we're in community. All of these things impact the world we're building, the world we're moving through, right? Things are crashing, things are coming down. What are we going to build? We have to have vision and hope for something. We can't just be against something. We have to be for something. What are you for? What are you for in your life? Can you make a list of 10 things you are for right now? What does that look like? And everybody's list might be different, but I'd be really curious, right? I am for delight and hope and curiosity and creativity and wonder and aliveness and common humanity and spirit-filled lives and decency, common decency and like garden. I just think of like nourishing forests and jungles, just nature thriving. These are the things I'm for. That's the world that's the world I'm fighting for. You know, Mulan, girl worth fighting, a world worth fighting for. And with that in mind, I can withstand this because I'm like, that is not the world we deserve or can have. We can have this, but we have to move towards that. This is where spirit has led me, is to move towards this, to be like, I see that we are beaten and bruised, that we believe we are worthless and we are broken inside. Let's patch you up. Let's help you get right size. Let's help you get in alignment with your higher power. Okay, go back out, go back into the world. Like I'm a little soul medic. That is my work. I call it the Joy Weaver. I do Fingerpots fairy hair. I do henna. I do tarot reading. I do energy work, soul coaching. We put together business plans or talk about your day or your schedule or your creative projects. But really, at the end of the day, it is you remembering who you are at your core, having a moment to breathe, and feeling like you can do the next right thing at the baseline of everything. That's what that is. It is a moment, it is space for you to remember. So you can go back out into that world and stand a little bit taller, hold your head up, say what you mean what you say, and feel good in your body as you do so, even when the world's crazy. That's the work I do. God, it feels good to say that. It's really important fucking work. It's game changing. It's the good stuff. And I'm really good at it. And it's really weird being really good at that work when it's based in joy, when the world is doing really stupid, horrible things. Honestly, it feels rude. I'm quite offended. I'm quite offended. But here we are in the both hand. And you're here with me, right? You're in it too. Maybe it looks different. Maybe you're not doing soul medic care while this is all happening, right? But maybe you're a teacher in a school. And I was a substitute teacher in Korea, and the kids, the kids are going through a lot. And so are the parents, so are the teachers. You know, maybe you're working in a grocery store. That is a lot. There is so much energy in a grocery store. People are frenetic, people are nervous, people are counting pennies, gas prices rise. It's a lot. So I want you to walk away from this conversation not feeling like I'm not doing enough, but being like, okay, here's where I'm at in this world right now, right? Reality check. Here we are, full on fascist war for war, money, whatever. Plus other things also happening, right? Like I'm just gesturing wildly to the world. That is happening. And also, look at the good that's around you. What are our friendships? What is progress? What about your dreams? What about things you've been working on? Did you clean the dishes this week? Y'all, I did my accountant stuff for my accountant on Thursday. Like I'm almost done with it. And I'm like, oh my God, she's ahead of time. Who is she? I am celebrating the fuck out of me for that. That is amazing. Go team me. That is growth. We are celebrating growth. How are you celebrating yourself for where you are and what you're doing? So often we're like, yeah, but I should be doing this. Okay, sure, great. But you're not. You're not right now. You're not. So how can we like Be proud of where we are and how much growth we've had. If you're like, no, AJ, there's nothing to be proud of right now. Can't, okay, well, you're here. You have not died. Good job being here. Literally half the battle. Staying in your body, staying here, doing the next right thing. So, okay, from here, what is the next right thing, right? Do you see how sometimes we get so out of whack, so out of sorts with how big everything is that we forget the impacts and the ripples we have? So let's just take a few breaths here. Just breathe. Even if you're like, oh, I hate all of this. Totally cool. You just say that out loud. It's fine. I hate all of this too. I despise feeling feelings deeply. I'm working on appreciating it like a little existential kink thing, you know? I like feeling sad. No, I don't. I hate feeling sad. I hate feeling frustrated. I hate feeling overwhelmed. I hate feeling useless in the big scheme of things. And yet, I am useless on that whole scale, but I'm not useless when it comes to my part to play, right? This is about getting right sized with your tools, items, things, parts to play in this larger story that is playing out in real time. Where it is going, I don't know, but I have to hold hope that there's goodness in the future. I have to hold hope that my niece, who was just born, will not inherit a worse world, which in the moment, I'm just like, ugh. But I'm hoping and praying that as enough of more of us get together saying, no, this is not what we want. No, a world where all are honored is worthy of having, and we're not going to stand for this. That wise people of integrity are put in positions of power that take care of the least of these and our neighbors and embrace that. Diversity is what makes us great and protects our trans friends and all of it, all of it. And if you can do the work to have your nervous system, to do the work, to do the mind work of holding that both hand, the world is big and here I am. The world is a lot and here I am. Here's spirit moving in ways I don't even see, I don't even understand. Here's something good I can do today. Here's a ripple I can put in this world. Enough of us are making ripples, butterfly effect, right? So just know that you're not alone, because I think it's helpful sometimes to see the people that are full of joy or happiness have a day where they break down, or have a day where you're like, oh my God, you also feel emotions. Like somebody the other day, I had a moment at Gulf Wars and she was like, it's kind of nice to see that you're, I was like, of course I feel feelings and of course I feel this. It's not always conducive to everybody else to also see that. But today I have enough of my thoughts together that I was like, let's just say all the quiet parts out loud, because if this helps even one person to either not feel alone, not feel crazy, or to be like, yes, the joy is not just fuckery for the sake of fuckery. The joy is part of the resistance. Joy is rebellion. Joy is nourishment, alignment with our higher powers and bypassing. Alignment with our higher power gives us the nudge to listen so that we're not listening to fear, the fast voice, or shame, the loud voice, or that quiet, like slithery voice is like, yeah, you could do that, but you know, you really suck, so you shouldn't. What the fuck is that? That's just lies we believe about ourselves. Or the fast voice that's like, oh, well, you should do that because then other people need this, but then they're going to think that of you. That's just the lies like, that's your expectations of other people's expectations of you, right? It's like this weird expectation twisty game. No, next, 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 next. We do this work so that you can be in alignment in here. That was hard. The next right thing is take a nap. The next right thing is to call the dentist. The next right thing is to call this person. The next right thing is to go for a walk. The next right thing is to eat some food. Usually the next right thing is a lot more simpler and quieter than we may want it to be. Storm the Capitol, you know, light the torches. May that Rohan, what is it? Rohan calls for aid and Gondor, no, Gondor calls for aid. Rohan will answer. Drink your water, eat your food. And if you're like, yeah, I know. No, but like, honestly, Are you actually drinking your water and eating your food? I was a water bear at Gulf Wars. So now I feel like a little bit of a water mistress. Like I'm like, did you drink your water? Did you hydrate in the last hour? You know, drink your water, eat your food, get at least 6 hours if you can. I am telling you, and like shower at least twice a week, more than that, but like, just washing your body, soap, water. If you do those things, your nervous system will have a little bit of an equilibrium you can work with. If you are not doing those things, it is going to be so much harder to do the mind work and the nervous system calibration work of holding the both hand. I'm just stating, just statements. I'm just stating statements. This isn't even a mention adding on chronic illness, all the other stuff, kids, like, right? So let's do a little bit of the bare minimum so that we can have these big conversations of how are we showing up in our life so that in 20 years from now, we are still functional and we haven't blown everything out. Okay? That's what I'm here for, is that we can still see the sunlight when it comes in because there's still sunlight. There are still sunrises. There are still sunsets. There's still goodness. There's still joy. There's still happiness. And there is horror. It is a comma. It is a both hand. The more we can embrace the spectrum of it all, the more we can show up rooted and grounded to do the next right thing without being blown out by the bad. Because then you can be like, I see you. I see you, terror, and you are not going to win. We can name it for what it is. Does that make sense? Okay. Report back. Email me, comment below, make a post, message me. How did this resonate? What is coming up for you? Do you have any questions? What would be helpful? Do you need more tools, language to like navigate this? Is there something you're like, hey, you mentioned this, but I'm missing this piece, or I'm not quite sure what you meant for this? I will do a podcast just on that. So I am a human just like you. I love getting messages. But I am more than happy to make sure that we have the things we need to do to thrive and do this well, right? Because I don't know about you, but right now, if I died tomorrow, like, hope not. I've got lots of things on my list I want to do of my life. I could die happy with my head held high, being like, I did what I came here to do. I believe in this moment that I was created to live in alignment with my higher power, with joy, wonder, and curiosity. And as a byproduct of that, to awaken and help people remember to do the same. How that has looked like a lot of different things. But I feel like I can hold my head up for how I've shown up. I want to say the same thing when I'm 80. And that means we're getting a little more grit. Get that glitter grit, right? We're like grit and glitter. It's the both and, okay? So, you got this. I know I like went to go close this out like 5 times ago, but sometimes you just have more thoughts to say. I love you. Sing your soul song and have a marvelous day.